Hello, my name is Jackson Benyon. I'm a blacksmith slash bladesmith out of Salt Lake City, Utah, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do a stone wash finish on a knife. I guess let's go over the steps first. The first step is ensuring that your blade, your piece, anything you're going to want to be putting a stone finish on is up to an appropriate grit. And the reason for that is because we're going to be doing what's called an acid stone wash. And what that means is, what we're going to do is we're going to put our blade inside of an acid solution that actually etches away the steel and darkens it, depending on the type of steel you have. Some are more corrosive resistant than others. I recommend using non-corrosive resistant steel. Mine's 1095. 1095 doesn't have anything in it to make it corrosion resistant. Anyways, so what you're going to want to do first is ensure that your blade, your piece, whatever you want to put a stone wash finish on, is at an appropriate grit. Now what I mean by that, when you put something in an acid solution, like what I'm using, which is ferric chloride acid, what it does is it's eating away at every surface that's submerged. Now that includes things like surface depression, scale, scratches, and scratch is the one thing we're going to focus on here, because I said get it up to the appropriate grit. Now what I mean by that, let's say I have a knife and I get it up to 150 grit hand sand. 150 grit hand sand marks are actually going to show. So what I've done with this knife is I've brought it all the way up to 400 grit hand sand. Now the minimum, at bare minimum I would do is 320 grit. You can always go higher, but I would not recommend going lower than 320 because 220 grit is going to show. Those lines from sanding are going to show in your acid wash. They're going to show in your finish. So I would recommend bringing it up to the very least 320. 320 grit is when the lines start to disappear. 400 is when they're almost completely gone. And once you go past 1,000, there's, in my opinion, not really much point in doing so because you're just going to be undoing the work you're doing. Anyways, so I've brought this knife up to 400 grit. It's using Duragold sandpaper. So what we're going to do next is clean it, degrease it. I'm going to use denatured alcohol. You could use acetone. You can even use soap and water, so long as you're wearing gloves and you're making sure that there's not going to be any residue or anything that could affect the etch. What I mean by that, the reason we're going to degrease with denatured alcohol / acetone is because, you know, as you're handling this knife, you're putting WD-40 on it while you're hand sanding, you're touching the blade, getting scuffs on, things like that. Those will show up in your acid etch. So if I didn't have this glove on and I imprint my finger or my thumb on the blade like this and I put it into the acid, that thumbprint's going to show. So not only am I wearing gloves for this entire process, I'm going to degrease it, ensure the entirety of the blade is clean so that nothing shows up. So we have a perfectly even finish. Similar to the scratches. Just want to ensure that you have a nice even finish with the acid wash. And then after we've degreased our knife, ensured that it's up to a proper grit, 400 in this case, what we're going to be doing is putting it in acid solution. The acid solution I use is about 1 part ferric chloride acid, 3 parts distilled water. It's just going to make sure that the acid's slightly diluted and it's less aggressive on your blade, so you can worry less about having to pull it out at the exact right time. After that, what we're going to do is we're going to neutralize the acid so it's safe to touch and the acid won't continue to eat away your steel using an ammonia-based window cleaner, actually. I also, in case my ammonia-based window cleaner doesn't work, I have an 81mm ammunition can sitting right here full of water that I'll just dip it in and out of and rub it. And then what we're going to do is, allow me to set this down somewhere, is we're actually going to get to the stone washing part. Now, what I do, what I use is different than a lot of people, because a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll put their blades, after they've been darkened in the acid, into an actual stone tumbler. I don't have a stone tumbler. What I do have is a PVC pipe with 2 caps on the end, and I have ceramic tumbling media and smooth stones from the front yard. That'll work just fine. So I don't have them in here right now, but what we're going to do is after the blade is all darkened and whatnot, we're going to put it in here with our ceramic tumbling media and our smooth stones and shake. Probably only 15-20 minutes, and that will create just this really nice, beautiful full stonewash finish. After that, it'll be final glue up for the handle, which I'll post a video of that as well. I didn't really video any progress or process on this knife, but just a little background on it. It is a 9-inch, so the blade is 9 inches, the entire thing is a little more than 9 inches, but it is a 9-inch European/Western style chef's knife, hand forged out of 1095, fully heat treated. That's another thing, you want to do this after heat treat. So before handling, but after heat treat. You never want to do this before heat treat. No point. You'll be undoing it anyways. So this is just a commission I have for a chef's knife. The handle's inside. I'll show you what it'll look like with the handle on afterwards, but it's, like I said, I just want to clarify, 1095. The reason I'm using 1095 is because it has an excellent amount of edge retention. It's just a very nice, simple, high carbon steel, excellent for making chef's knives out of. It's just great. And the great thing is, it's perfect for a stonewash because it doesn't have anything in the steel to make it corrosive resistant. It doesn't have anything that's going to protect it from the acid like its Damascus counterpart 15 and 20 would. In Damascus steel, you have two steels. One's a high carbon steel without nickel, and the other one is a high carbon steel with nickel. When you put that in the acid, the one with nickel is slightly more corrosion resistant, so it remains, say, somewhat light. The darker steel, however, doesn't have any nickel in it. This doesn't have any nickel in it like its Damascus counterpart 15N, which is nickel, 20, which is a bandsaw steel, bandsaw blade steel. It's just a nice, simple, high-carbon blade steel that we're going to use because it doesn't have any corrosion resistance, but it's also great for chef's knife. So without further ado, let's get into it. I'm back. So now what I have is just paper towels, kitchen paper towels you can use, disposable rags if you see fit, and I have my Denatured Alcohol, which is for some reason called fuel. I don't even know how. I've only ever used it for cleaning knives. I don't know how you use it as fuel. Anyways, so I'm just gonna get set that down so I can grab another sheet in a moment. Double this up so it doesn't overdo too much. Fold it. And I'm going to, I guess I'll set that on the side. Grab my Denatured Alcohol. Just a little bit on. Yeah, just a little bit on there. And then grab the knife by the tang and start just cleaning it. This is just going to ensure no fingerprints are on it. It's a murder weapon. No, it's just going to ensure that no residue, nothing that can tamper with the etch is going to be left on it. Man, it smells amazing. I'm just going to get that finger swell right there. Ensure that everywhere is clean on this. I'm going to use a little more on there. You can use as much as you need. I should probably stop setting that down on my lap. It's probably undoing the cleaning. I don't know. Like that. Make sure I get the spine of the knife too. Things will show up on the spine. Now let's switch over to the other side. Looking really nice, really shiny, really clean. We're about to go and mess that all up. I don't need to worry about the tang too much. The tang's obviously not going to be seen. It's a hidden tang knife. There's no point in cleaning the tang. You can if it's for your peace of mind, but I would only clean just down to it. Use the other side of this. I'm going to get a fair amount on there. And then that is going to be our right there. Okay, it is getting on there. Playing tricks on me. Just want to make sure it's nice and clean. Like I said, you can use acetone for this. You can even use a big bucket of soapy water and a brush. I just prefer this. Makes me feel like Heisenberg from Breaking Bad. Or Walter White, there we go. And that is our fully cleaned and degreased knife. I left my microfiber rag inside, so I'm going to go grab that and then give it one final clean polish with that for sake of mind, really. This is all you really need to do, but it just helps me if I as well. And just taking a nice look at it, looks like it's fully clean. Really liking it. Right, I'm gonna grab that rag, I'll be back with you all in a moment. Alright, I found my nice microfiber rag, so I'm just gonna give it, woo, that's sleek. One final polish, just like this. Oh, man, I like that. Wow, alright, that's ready. So I'm gonna prepare my acid solution and I'll be back with you all in a moment. Hello, I'm back. You can't see me in this one because we're going to be doing this on the floor because I don't have a single unoccupied space on any of my surfaces. Just all of my workbench is occupied by other stuff. But the floor is the largest shelf I have. So we have our ferric chloride solution. It's tilted on edge just so that this all seeps back in here, and we have our knife, and we're just going to set it on in there. There you can see, just submerge it, that's all we needed to do. Now I am going to just watch this. I'm going to set it in here for about a minute, and then I'm going to pull it out. All right, see you then. All right, it's spent about a minute and a couple seconds in the acid, so let's take it out. I really should have tied a wire around the string. It's fine. Yeah. Anyways, so you can see that this is our blade. So I'm just going to neutralize this outside of here over some disposable just water in my ammunition can with my ammonia-based window cleaner because that neutralizes the acid, makes it safe to touch, whatnot, and then I'll give it a good look, and then we'll probably go in for our second etch because this process does require multiple etches. The first etch went really well. I got some really nice even colors and textures in there. I'm really liking how it's turned out so far. I think the second etch is going to do it a lot more justice. So wash this off in the water real quick. Dry it, let it dry a little. And then we'll put it back in the acid for our second wash. But I quite like how that turned out. Really like it, as a matter of fact. So here is our first etch. You can see the blade is pretty blackened. I actually don't know what those little spots are down there. Hopefully that will come out during our second etch though. All right, we'll see you all then. All right, I degreased it one more time. Just used denatured alcohol and I gave it a polish with the microfiber rag again. Now it's time for our second etch. So you can see that there are just some spots on the blade that are fairly uneven. Hopefully get rid of those in the second etch. It should. So let's set it in and wait. Alright, so I went ahead and I did a couple more etchings off camera. I just couldn't be bothered to film in the oven. And we have this really nice, even blackened / gray, just finish. Now, I believe this is called black oxide finish. You can just leave this on here as is if you'd like. It has some cool patterning in sometimes. For instance, I can see the hamon that I accidentally put in here. We're about to tumble that out though, so I'm going to get all my tumbling media and my tumbler ready, and then I'll be back with you all in a moment. Alright, so that tumbling media I was talking about is just this, it's little ceramic pieces. You can get this media, is what they call it, at Harbor Freight. I believe this is one of the lower grits. And then the other thing I'm using to tumble is just some smooth stones from my front yard. As long as it doesn't have too jagged of an edge, unless you want it to be on purpose, it should be fine for tumbling. It's just ceramic, so they won't actually wear out over time. Neither will stones, I suppose, but they just work great. All right, so we have our knife ready for tumbling, and then here we have our tumbler. So I've already filled this with some water, all my tumbling media and my stones. So I'm just going to just drop the knife in there, put this other end cap on, and then shake / twist until I think it looks good. I think it might look good because I can't see inside of it. Alright, this is our final result after tumbling it like crazy. And I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. Then this is the handle for the blade. Curly koa wood, my favorite. Wow, look at that. Camera does not do this justice though. Looks so much prettier in person. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to subscribe or not. And I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good one.